Welcome to another tutorial by ILGM. Today we're going to cover iControl WebStudio, the big brother to Office Studio. It has a little bit more features, a little bit more functionality, and a little bit more control and flexibility than Office Studio does, and it really does warrant having its own tutorial so that the basics can be covered. So the first thing that we want to do is go ahead and log in, and you should have already been given a username and password, and the first thing that you're going to want to do is go ahead and type in admin at the end of your URL. So bring up the login screen, go ahead and type in the username and password, and from here this will take you right into your dashboard, and this is kind of your control center of the whole system. You'll see an administrative preview. This kind of shows you everything that's been going on in your back office, who's been logging in, when they've logged in, and kind of what they're doing. If you click on view, you can get a full list of everything that they've done and in the order that they've done it. There's the ability to submit a support ticket over here. You can come up here and contact live help if you want to. This is a support system, the last 3 tickets, a little bit of clock. Here's all of your tools, and your toolbar is going to look different than probably this one. Each website set of tools is customized for your needs. If you're a real estate agent, you're going to have realtor tools. If you're a daycare center, you may have daycare center tools. But for right now, this is just a basic template that we've got set up and running, so you get a basic set of tools. Our primary goal is going to be focused on content editing, but we'll go ahead and look at these really quick. If you want to edit your account, you can change your password from here. If you need to click in to look at the work order system, you have that here. If you want to turn off the icons, particularly when I am editing, I like the icons off. It gives a little bit cleaner, but for this demo we're going to go ahead and leave them on so that you can see where everything's at. You can move the toolbars to the right if you want, if you prefer them to be over here. We'll move them back to the left and then log off here. This is your getting help system. This is going to be the online support system. This is going to be an iControl overview of tools and features that are available, page management documentation, and if you're going to get into form creation, there's a form management documentation here. This system has some basic tools that we're not going to cover today, but we'll go over them. It's social media, feedback. This is where all your other tools are going to be. And custom design and editing is all turned off on this website, but that may be also turned on for you. Our main focus right now is going to be content editing and page management. This is where the nuts and bolts of everything that goes on the front of your website is going to happen. Everything that you see here. Right now this is your primary pages up here on top. Everything you need to know. This is going to be the page order that everything's in, the page titles, and what all's going on here. Inside here, this is going to be exactly the same as what you see up here, or at least should be fairly close. And then down here, this is going to be your supporting pages or your orphans. This is pages that don't necessarily need to be in the navigation or maybe pop-up windows for additional information and stuff like that. We're going to be creating one here, so we'll talk about that in a few minutes as well. And then in order to look at your children pages that we saw earlier, you can click on the plus sign here. That'll expand it, and you'll see that page 2 has 4, 5, and 6 listed below it, and then the parent is page 2. So that's how those two are connected together, and we'll talk about how to connect those here in a minute. So the first thing that we want to do is just let's look at the editing process. How do we go and change this object on our home page? You know, let's say that we want to add hello world right here on the first line. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to come over here into the commands, and these commands are defined down here. Every one of those buttons, it tells you what they are. So let's go ahead and hit edit, and in this case we have one object, so we're going to edit that object, and then here is all the content for our page. You can expand it so that you can see it a little bit easier. You can shrink it back down. And we're just going to click over here and we're going to type in hello world. And we'll hit enter. We'll go ahead and hit apply. This will save it to the database, and we'll take a look at it here, and there's hello world, and it's been updated, and editing your website's just that simple. We'll go over some more details here in a few minutes, like adding links and updating pictures and so on. And we'll take a look at creating a page. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to type in the page name, and in this case we're just going to call it test page, and we're going to hit go. We're going to put it right after page 3, so we're going to give it an order of 5,000. which is the naming convention. This is not going to be a child, so we don't need a parent. We'll show you that in a minute though. So we're not going to go into every line item on every one of these options. If you want to know the details, you can go to Getting Help and click Page Management, and this document, this short PDF, has screenshots and will give you an example of absolutely every one of these items, what they are and what they do. We're going to go ahead and hit Update and Continue, and this will take us to the search engine page. This is where the browser title is going to show up. This is really important. You want to make sure that this browser title is exactly what you want the search engines to read. So we're going to say test page, good titles for SEO. That way we want to make sure we have good titles. Go ahead and add a page description and a page keyword. This is very important to have this information posted properly. And there's a video online that you can go to underneath online support that will talk about SEO and the 5 basic principles. So we're not going to cover that today. We're just going to hit Update and Continue. And now the page navigation. Like I mentioned before, we have navigation on the left and navigation up on the top. But this particular page we're not going to put in navigation, we're just going to link to it. So we don't care about showing in the main nav or in the footer or on every page. We'll come back to that in a minute. So we're going to go ahead and hit Update and Continue. We're going to leave everything inside of here set to the defaults. Again, you can read this in the PDF. And now we're going to get to the page content. So we'll go ahead and hit Edit for the content object. And I'm going to go ahead and paste in my content. So we'll just type it in here, and I've got it in my clipboard. So I've added a few things. We'll go ahead and change this to test page so that we can see what it is. We'll go ahead and we'll leave everything the same. We'll hit Finish. We'll go ahead and hit Home. We're not going to activate it there. We're going to activate it here. So now test page is live, but it's not in our navigation because we chose not to put it in here yet. So let's go ahead and hit the View button. This will show us what our page looks like. So it says test page. So what good is it if we're not going to put it in navigation? Well, we can link to it. Doesn't clutter up our navigation, but it still is important enough to link to. So let's close that out. And how do we link to a page? So we have 2 choices here. We can copy the full URL, and I only recommend doing that if you're going to be sending this on another website, or we can just copy the link to the clipboard. So we'll hit the L button. So a little pop-up window blurped in there, and now our link is on the board. We're going to go to the home page. We're going to go look at the content. Let's edit that object. There's Hello World, so we're link Hello World, so let's just highlight it. We're going to click the link tool. We're going to paste in our URL, and we're going to hit OK. So there's our link. We're going to hit Apply. Now let's go look at it at home. So Hello World is right there. Let's hit refresh. Now it's a link, and we click it. It's going to take us to the test page. So that's how we link to a page internally. So we'll go back to the home page, and let's assume for the sake of this discussion that we really do want this in the navigation and we want it to show up on the left hand side. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to come down to here. We're going to go to the navigation. And here's our navigation commands. This is the link title. This is what it's going to be. This is what's going to show up. So we're going to say test page. We'll call it SEO. That's what the title is. We're going to say yes, show in the main nav, and yes, show on every page. And in this case, let's go ahead and show in the footer too. And the footer's down here. So we want this to show up down there as well. So we have yes, yes, and yes, and we're going to hit Apply. So when we come back to our home page and we hit reload, there it says test page SEO. We click it, it takes us to the test page. So it's in our left hand side. It's also down here, test page. Now this says test page, this says test page SEO. That's because underneath the page properties we didn't update where it says footer and sitemap link. So if we change this to test page SEO and hit apply, when we come back to the bottom Now it says test page SEO. It's basically that easy, and if we wanted to move test page up to the top, not sure it'll fit, but from here we'll go to navigation location and we'll select top instead of left and hit apply. Come back over here and hit reload again, and now it's been moved out of the left hand side and up to the top. It's really that simple. So we'll go ahead and put it back on the left and hit apply. So let's say that we want to move test page from the main navigation and put it underneath page 3. So that way it's not going to show up here unless we click on page 3. So that would be a child of page 3. So the first thing we're going to do is go to our page properties. We're going to select a parent. We're going to select page 3 is our parent. Then we're going to go to navigation. And from navigation, we're going to leave showing the main nav yes. Showing the footer, we're going to set to no. And then show on every page is what we want that to be no, because we only really want the link to show up when page 3 is selected. So we're going to hit apply. Test page SEO is now gone. If it's not gone, just hit refresh. And then we click on home page, still not there, but if we click page 3, voila, there it is, test page SEO. And then if we click on it, it's going to take us right to the test page. So that's how parent-child relationships work, and that's how you can bury the navigation. So now that we have that done, let's go back and look at doing some basic edits to the test page. So here's the test page. Let's go to edit the page. Let's click on edit page object, and let's talk about doing some formatting. So this will let you do some basic formatting, so you can highlight stuff and you can hit bold, you can highlight it and select a highlight color and so on, and when you hit apply those will take place. We'll go to page 3, test page. You've learned how to add a link, but we'll cover that really quick. So let's take and make subheading a link. So we'll click on the link tool and we'll type in just a basic link, and we'll hit OK. Let's hit apply. Hit reload. So now our subheading's a link. When we click on it, it takes us to a new page. So let's go back. But let's say that we don't want that page to replace our website. We just want it to come up instead. So let's click over here. We'll go back. Just click where the link is. Click your link tool. And underneath target, add in new window. And hit OK. And hit apply. And now when this is reloaded, you have a subheading there. We can click it and there's our website, there's our new link. It's just that simple. Okay, now how about an image? So let's go ahead and click right where we want the image to be. So now let's click on the image tool. Brings up the image dialog box. We're going to go ahead and upload a new image from our system. So click the upload tab, go to browse, find an image that you want to upload. We'll upload that one. Say OK. First thing you're going to do is send it to the server. So this is going to upload it. That's been uploaded. Here's our image information, and we're going to go, let's align this to the right and say OK and apply. So now we have an image in the system. So when we come back to our test page and hit reload, there's the image we just uploaded, and it's aligned to the right. Everything's nice and pretty, nice and neat. Okay, now that we've got an image in there, one of the things that you might want to do is you might want to actually link to the image. And this is done in one of two ways. You can either click on it and use the link tool like we did earlier and type in your link and your target here, or you can right click on it and hit image properties, and you can go to the image properties and go to the link tab and type it in here. So in this case, be http://ilgm.com. We're going to go ahead and set a target, let it open in a new window since it's going off site, and we'll hit OK. So one of the things that I don't like about the default links is their colors are usually blue and purple. As you can see, we have a border here around this image. It's showing the link. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that. I'm going to go ahead and right click. I'm going to go to image properties, and I'm going to set border equals 0, and that's going to turn the border off. There's a couple of ways to do borders if you want to do it. We'll have some advanced CSS, and that's typically how I like to do it. But in this case, I'm going to leave it off. The other way you can do it is you can actually add the border with your image editor. But here we go. The border is now off. It's still a link, and it still opens up where we need it to go. Now you have the basics, and hopefully you can start and stop and pause and get out of it what you need. There are other tutorials available. You can get to them by going to the top menu bar up here under Video Tutorial, and in here you'll find a whole list of different tutorials for like advanced image rotations, uploading documents, adding Flash to your website or Twitter. These are all different tutorials that are available here for you to use at will. Thank you, and I hope this was informative.